Good evening, everyone. Thank you for coming in a timely fashion. We're happy to see you all. My name is Nursa McLaurin. I'm the president of the Walter S. Newman Veterans Resource Center. This veterans organization is a veteran-started and veteran-ran program that aims to provide a smooth transition of certificate or transfer completion for our student vets while building community amongst each other on our journeys to success. We find that very important that we are on one accord at all times within ourselves. The Veterans Resource Center has contributed to the certification of students entering the labor force as well as graduating students that have successfully transferred to four-year universities such as, but not limited to, Columbia State University in New York, Dominican, Stanford, Berkeley, University of San Francisco, as well as San Francisco State University, all which are located in the beautiful Golden State of California. The Veterans Resource Center has a proud history of academic accomplishments and setting up quotas to succeed in higher education. Let us not forget that part of our history includes the faculty and staff members that continue to fight for our rights as students and veterans to be able to continue our education here at City College of San Francisco. I would like to introduce the Chancellor of City College of San Francisco, who is a very strong, dedicated, and motivated woman that has been entrusted with the title as Chancellor. Please welcome Chancellor Susan Lamb.
Hi, I'd like to thank the Veterans Association and Congresswoman Jackie Speier as hosting this event. It's a wonderful event here at City College of San Francisco. I'd also like to thank the veterans that have come today, not only for coming here to City College, but also for your service to this country, because that's something that we can never pay back. City College was the first college in the country that made the decision that rather than veterans having to come to college and then chase after additional services, we formed up a partnership with the Veterans Association and said, look, let's have one location, let's have a partnership, let's have City College where you can come here, get an education, and also get the services that you need as a veteran. So that's one of the reasons that City College is one of the top choices for veterans nationally, in that you can come to City College and basically get all those services taken care of. Because of that, we have actually over 1,200 veterans that are here at the college. Of that group, about 50% of them are also receiving and are certified to receive services from the Veterans Association. And we have about 20% of those that are actually female in addition, that are returning veterans coming back. And you know, I can talk about the college at large. We have a lot of national programs. We have a lot of services that we can provide. But I think the real thing about City College is you tend to get individual attention. If you look at your student leaders, if you look at the counselors here, if you look at the individuals that are involved in the program, you will find that they take an individual attention in your ability to succeed. We want you to succeed, not as a veteran, but as being a veteran, but also being a successful student and going on and taking City College, our team here, with you, just like you had your team when you provided service to your country. So I just want to welcome you to City College, and we look forward to building on our foundation and going forward and providing you even better services going forward. Thank you for coming, and welcome to City College.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Jackie Speier, the Congresswoman who proudly represents City College in the Congress of the United States. To Chancellor Lamb, thank you for hosting us here today. We thought it was appropriate to do it here on campus in particular because there are 1,200 veterans going to school here. This is the #1 school in the country that has the number of veterans who are actually enrolled in the college. So take great pride in knowing not only are you #1 in terms of the numbers of you, but this is #1 in terms of the fact that this center is here for you. Walter Newman is the name of the individual for whom the Resource Center for Veterans is named after. Walter Newman served in World War II at D-Day and was shot in the chest during that invasion. He received a Purple Heart, became a very philanthropic person in our community. He passed away very recently, but his wife, Ellen, continues to be very committed to City College and was at a lunch today, as a matter of fact, that was hosted to try and provide additional scholarships for young people and middle-aged people who are coming to school at City. So long and rich history that Walter Newman has as a veteran, and of all the things he could have done in San Francisco, whether it was the symphony or the opera, decided to put resources into a Veterans Resource Center here at City. So I wanted you to appreciate the history of this. As you know, I represent this region. Everyone who is here, though, should know that regardless of whether I represent you technically, as far as I'm concerned, I represent you, because your needs are ones I want to deliver on. So we are here today because you served our country, and it's time for me and the members of Congress to serve you. Thank you. I serve on the Armed Services Committee and the Intelligence Committee, so I am steeped in the issues that you have been engaged in. We have, since 2012 in my office, returned to veterans over $5 million in disability benefits that were owed to them. So to Richard Steffen and Mark Nagalis on my staff, Richard's in the back of the room. I think Mark is still signing in people outside. Would you give them a round of applause to say thank you for the great service that they have provided? So benefits, disability benefits, is just part of what we owe you. We owe you a top-notch college education. The GI Bill provides the richest set of benefits ever in the history of this country. And we want to make sure that you take advantage of them and have the opportunity to excel in your college experience. Beyond that, you want to get a really good job. And we've got some people here on this panel that are going to provide you with some really good jobs if you're looking. We also want to make sure that you get the mental health services and the health care you deserve. And all of those are part and parcel of what we owe each and every one of you. I started on this effort back in 2012. Our first Fix-It meeting took place in the city at the War Memorial Building. We had 400 veterans who showed up. They were angry and disappointed, and were rightfully so, because at that time there was a backlog of claims that had not been processed of over 29,000. One of those veterans was there. He was over 90 years of age. He served in the D-Day invasion and also the Battle of the Bulge. He was in a wheelchair. He had been waiting for his claim to be processed for over 2 years. And he had just received a letter from the VA saying that he had to go back and see his doctors so that they could assess what his status was. I turned to the then VA director, who is no longer the VA director, I might add, and said, "You're not going to have this man go through that process again. It's our fault that that claim wasn't processed in a timely fashion. You're going to evaluate it based on what you have." 10 days later, he got a phone call, and he was granted 100% disability benefits and the retroactive payments. So he was crying on the phone, and he said, "You don't know what this is going to do for us. It's going to allow us to bring someone into the home to provide us some care that we weren't able to get." Now, his wife passed away. He lived maybe another couple of years before he passed away. But we can all feel good that in the end, he got the benefits that he justly deserved. We did it again in 2013, and that year we had 300 veterans who came. Again, there were still issues about the backlog. But the Oakland VA then received new leadership, and Julie Bohr will be presenting to you in just a few moments. She's been there since May 4th, 1914, and under her leadership, there has been a reduction in the number of unaddressed claims by some 88%. An 88% reduction. So it's gone from 29,000 claims unprocessed to 3,000 claims unprocessed. So that's a huge turn of events, and I think we want to applaud the VA for recognizing that they had work to do, and they've gone a long way in responding to it. That doesn't mean they're perfect. That doesn't mean that there aren't claims that are still outstanding, and there doesn't mean that you have claims right here and now that are in need of being addressed. And they will be addressed because the VA has brought a staff of individuals who will be able to work your claims right now in the room next door. So if you have an interview time that you were given when you signed in, you're good to go. If you haven't yet gotten an interview time, I encourage you to go outside and get a time slot so that you can have your issues addressed. I also want to draw to your attention that on October 13th at the San Mateo County Events Center, I will be having my 12th Job Hunters Boot Camp. And for any of you that are seeking employment, we will have over 100 employers there. So it's not just a job fair, it's an opportunity for you to have your resume reviewed by an expert to see if it should be adapted or changed. And you can also go through a mock interview to kind of hone your skills in that regard. And there will be workshops for you to attend as well. So we're going to have everyone on this panel speak for 5 minutes, and then we're going to use the hook because we want to get to your questions. Some may even speak for less than 5 minutes, but we want you to have the benefit of everyone's presentation. We're going to start with Julie Bohr, who, as I said, was just appointed a little over a year ago. They've made some great changes at the VA in Oakland. She's an attorney, a member of the Nevada State Bar, and been with the VA since 1991. So please welcome Julie Bohr.
Making a lot of noise, sorry. Good afternoon, everybody. Thank you so much for coming. Thank you, first of all, for your service, if you are a veteran. And before I get started in telling you all the great things that we're doing at the Oakland Regional Office, I hope you'll indulge me 1 minute to help me wish a happy boot camp anniversary. It's been 50 years for that gentleman in the tie. Say hi, Will. You learn all kinds of new things when you go out and meet people, so I was very, very glad to meet a few of you, and hopefully I'll get a chance to talk to more of you as the afternoon progresses. For those of you who don't know what the Oakland Regional Office does, many times when I go out and say that I work for the VA, they assume that I am Bonnie and that I work for the hospital because that's usually the larger presence for the VA. But we actually have jurisdiction of 43 counties, over 800,000 veterans in Northern California, providing over $160 million in compensation benefits every month to veterans and their families. And a little-known program that people may not know, everyone knows their claim or their compensation claim. That opens lots of doors. But we also have a vocational rehabilitation and employment program that has 4,000 veterans enrolled so that they can get retrained and reemployed after retraining into the civilian sector. I think the Congresswoman, thank you so much for inviting me so that I can tell this story. So I was neglectful for not thanking you, but it's always a good feeling to come out and tell you where we were, where we are now, and where we're going. It's a bright future. We started out, our inventory back in 2012 was over almost 35,000 veterans waiting for a decision. And as Congresswoman Speier mentioned, almost 29,000 of those were waiting over 125 days. And in fact, on average, veterans were waiting 457 days for an answer from us, one way or the other. And it was completely unacceptable. Our folks buckled down. We got some help. We tweaked some things. We made some changes. And I can tell you today that the veterans in Northern California are waiting almost a full year less for a decision on their claim. We've improved 357 days. Folks are waiting 109 days on average now for their claims to be processed. So that doesn't mean that we don't have a whole lot of work to do. We realize that Some folks may be still waiting more than that 109 days, and there's several reasons for that. We're not charged by the number of 125. That's our goal. That's what we'd like to achieve. So if everything in a perfect world happened, we can get that done in 125 days or less. But if you figured out that, oh, I forgot to claim a knee, or if I forgot I didn't submit this treatment record from Kaiser, we're not going to say, oh, we're not going to get close to that 125 days and just and go on. We'll carry it as long as we need to, as long as you need us to make sure you got the right information in front of our decision makers at all times to get the right decision. Some areas that we're working on, you can pull the hook pretty quickly. But some areas I want you to know that we're working on. I know that the appellate process is a big concern for a lot of folks, and we've kept pace with it. Our inventory is maintained, and actually our timeliness in that area is also improved. But we're going to be shifting some resources here soon in October so that we can put extra emphasis on that and make sure that those who have appeals pending will also get the attention that they deserve. We also have a rules-based benefits program for our folks that come in, and after maybe they get an award from us, they get married or they have a child subsequently, and they're getting kind of stuck with us in the backlog. What I would recommend is we have e-benefits where you can go in yourself. If you're not enrolled, we can help you with that today. If you're enrolled, we can go in. You can go in yourself and add that and put the information in to add that child. That usually adds within a day or two. And then we can go back retroactively for any retroactive benefits you may be entitled to. But I think I'm getting the hook, so I just want to say thank you very much for the opportunity to be here and look forward to talking to you. Thank you, ma'am.
Next, we're going to hear from Bonnie Graham, who's the director of San Francisco's VA Medical Services. Bonnie?
Thank you, Congresswoman Speier. I'm really, really pleased to be here tonight. And we have a long history at the San Francisco VA healthcare system with City College. And we started our student veteran outreach program in 2010. And we have serviced here on campus 1,400 unique veterans. We have enrolled 500 here on campus, in which 300 have never utilized VA services. So we're really, really pleased about that. We provide mental health services, social work services, enrollment assistance, and also help navigating the healthcare system. And I think that's an important factor. We also provide enrollment days and a speaker series to bring in information that might be of interest to the student veterans. I want to share, because I'm really proud of it and our collaboration, that this is the first program of its kind in the VA. And since we have been involved with City College and really shared a lot of the benefits, there have been 20 other VAs that have replicated this program across the country. So that's pretty amazing. But we couldn't have done any of this without significant collaboration. And the reason we've been successful is really the outstanding support of City College, in particular, Dean Santos, the Vice President of Student Affairs, Chancellor Susan Lamb, and the Veterans Alliance Club. They were really critical to this, and I want to tell them how grateful I am for the fact that they have provided such significant support to make this happen. It's amazing. So this program that we have here is really about bringing all the services from the VA to where the veterans are. And I think that's the model of the future. And we're really glad to expand that and to work with all of you to be able to meet your needs. So I wanted to share that with you, but primarily I'm here tonight really to listen to all of you and see how we can do better, how we can improve and expand and continue to meet your needs. So thank you.
Our next speaker is Mark Leach. He's the business manager for the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, IBEW Local 617. He is the representative for electrical contractors, workers, and construction workers. He's also vice president of San Mateo County Labor Council. He served in the U.S. Navy for 6 years as a fire control petty officer, second class. He left, went to community college, used the GI Bill at UCLA, and then decided that what he really wanted to do was be an electrician, and joined an electrical apprenticeship program. He's a great friend and very interested in getting more veterans involved in the IBEW. Mark?
This is my Congresswoman right there. I'd do anything for her. Thank you for having me tonight, and I'm honored to have been asked to do this. I grew up in a very military family. Mom and dad met in uniform. Both of them were in the service. So getting out of the military was tougher than getting in. It was easy to make the decision to go in because that's what everybody said you were going to do in my family. Getting out, I disappointed a lot of folks. But I also found that I was not prepared to exist in the world that wasn't military. The military didn't teach me about writing resumes, doing interviews, and those sorts of things. But it did teach me a lot of things that do translate. It taught me teamwork. It taught me preparedness. It taught me to always put safety first. And it taught me chain of command. That's why construction employers love veterans. That last piece right there. Those things that you learn in the military. Teamwork, preparedness, chain of command, and safety. It translates, it really does. Your foremen are often like your sergeants, project managers on a job site are like your lieutenants, architects are like a major, and the owner of the property definitely has a star on his collar. So because it translates so well, it's a great, great place to have your second career, whether you did 20 years, 30 years, or just like me, just 6 years. It really is a great place to take have the rest of your life. As Congresswoman mentioned, I am part of the Central Labor Council for the County of San Mateo, the Building Trades Council for San Mateo. I am connected to every single one of those councils in the Bay Area. If you want a job in the unionized workforce, I will direct you to the right person to talk to. One thing that 20 years ago, in order to be in the trades, you needed to have a dad or an uncle who showed you the path. And I know that you don't have that dad or an uncle, so I'm volunteering to be your uncle. So. Okay.
Next, we're going to hear from Patty Pace. She's the director of NPower, and with her is James Rowe, who is a Navy veteran who just graduated from NPower's intern program at San Mateo County Community College. So, with that, tell us what NPower is.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you, Congresswoman, for the invitation today, and thank you all for your service. It is truly an honor to be here today. I represent a nonprofit organization that's headquartered in Brooklyn that's been in operation for over 14 years, offering IT technology workforce development programs. We opened an office in the Bay Area a couple of years ago, looked hard for subsidized space, found that at College of San Mateo, and opened our doors to offering an IT training program to veterans in the Bay Area. So although we're located in San Mateo, we do draw students from all over. So just to give you sort of an overview of that, I do want to mention that today I'm very privileged to have 3 staff from NPower in the audience. All 3 are veterans. Stephanie Herndon, Pedro Ramadi, and Mark Richter are there in the back row. So I did want to acknowledge them. And eligibility for our program is simply serving as a veteran or a veteran spouse, having your high school degree or GED. It's very helpful to have an interest in IT. There is no age restrictions. And we do encourage female participation. Our goal is 25%. Excuse me. Our program is 20 weeks long. We offer industry-recognized certification, professional skills training, mentoring from tech leaders, and it's free to the veteran. And we actually assist you in providing you with transportation costs, gas cards to get to and from your classes, and also your apprenticeship. So we offer a 15-week in-class program where you leave with your A+ certification. And then on the back end of that is a 7-week apprenticeship program, training you to become a help desk person, administrative person, and all of that is free to you. Our program also continues to work with you, and up to 2 years after you graduate, which is why we have James here today. I've invited James to talk a little bit about being a student in our program for our inaugural class. James served in the United States Navy as a communications electronics technician and assistant security manager. He moved to the Bay Area post-Navy to attend school, discovered us, took a chance on us, enlisted in our classes, graduated with his A+ certification, and he's going to talk a little bit about his experience as a veteran in our Empower program.
Thank you very much, Patty, and I really do mean that. Since I agreed to come here, she's probably thanked me 150 times, but really, that's not necessary because like when somebody or a program does right by me, I'm more than happy to talk up that program. And Empower, the best thing about them is everything that Patty just said, that's 100% true. She wasn't lying when she said that they take care of you, they take care of transportation, they help you get the knowledge that you need to pass the A+ certification exam. Just the benefits, just the monetary value of the gas cards alone, I made money off of Empower, not even counting the paid internships. So like, if you like their shirt too, I got that from Empower as well. Like they take care of all the other things that you don't necessarily think about. That's the kind of things they kind of help you key on. So what got me into the door was the A+ certification. I was really interested in that, but what I ended up getting out of it was more along the lines of, man, I have a really great resume now. Man, I'm really prepared for interviews. They're not scary to me at all. And like the best part to me about Empower, the best thing about Empower to me is that I know that in the College of San Mateo, where they're stationed right now, there's a room full of people where if I need to redo my resume, I can go to them anytime. If I say like, I'm looking for a job, can you help me? There's a room full of people that they're gonna say, yeah, we're gonna help you out. We're gonna help you, and however we can, we're gonna do what we can to help you find a job. So besides that, as far as the classroom goes, it's really, really well paced. It's not just like you're in a classroom sitting there watching and waiting for the day to end. It's very, very interactive, and it's very, very much as soon as you're ready to go to the next thing, the pacing is with you. So that's all I really wanted to say about Empower, and just thanks for having me.
So James, I want to introduce you to James Lucas. James Lucas is chair of the Genentech Veterans Diversity Team, and he's going to talk to you about his company's efforts to hire veterans. He's a U.S. Navy veteran, served 6 years as a missile technician aboard the ballistic submarine Mariano G. Vallejo. And we welcome him here. Doesn't this feel a little bit like speed dating? All right, please go forward, James.
Thank you. I'd like to thank Congresswoman Speier for inviting me to speak to you today and for the introduction. I'd also like to thank you for your service and for listening to my story. I joined the Navy right out of high school, close to the end of the Cold War and the start of the first Gulf War. During my time in service, I learned a lot about diversity, adaptability, leadership, patience, and loyalty, all of which have helped me in my civilian career. When I left the Navy, the TAP and other separation programs were almost a do-it-yourself deal. My separation physical was a perfunctory 15-minute visit with a base doctor. When I told him I had ringing in my ears, he told me that there was nothing that they could do about it and said good luck in the civilian world. I've heard that the process has changed a lot, and I'm happy to hear that. I attended a job fair with IBM in my hometown a month before getting out and was told that I could start at IBM as soon as I was ready. It was at IBM that I learned the importance of a mentor. From the day I started, they had a fellow veteran show me the ropes and help me learn the IBM culture. This made my transition so much easier. I worked at IBM for 10 years before being laid off and worked at various IT jobs, including being self-employed for a few years. In 2009, I was hired as a contractor at Genentech supporting clinical IT systems. Although I'd been out of the military for 13 years at that point, I found that I still had a hard time getting used to their corporate culture. I was later hired as a regular employee, and it was then I saw that our other sites had veteran employee resource groups, and I approached HR about starting one at the corporate headquarters. In addition to my core role as a clinical systems implementation lead, I am the chair of our Veterans Diversity Leadership Team. Our goals are to recruit and retain veterans and to build a vibrant veteran community within Genentech. This leadership role has been a great opportunity for me to learn more about Genentech, interact with colleagues, and collaborate with our upper management. I enjoy working at Genentech as we have a work hard, play hard mentality, and we are working hard to show the veteran community that we value the sacrifice and experience of veterans and reservists. I'd like to leave you with a few things that I've learned along the way. Hiring managers are starting to value military experience, but still not over a college degree. Take advantage of the free year of premium service LinkedIn gives to veterans to talk to other veterans in your targeted field. Don't always look at traditional career paths because you may miss a job path such as clinical or manufacturing IT versus general IT. And know that there are companies out there that want men and women who have served with passion and integrity as you have served our country. And thank you for giving me some of your time, and I wish you all the best in your post-military career journey. Thank you.
Thank you, James. Now we're going to hear from Karina Conley. She's the CEO of the Veterans Business Outreach Center, and her organization partners with SBA for those of you that are interested in starting your small businesses. Thank you, Karina.
Well, good evening, everybody. Let me get a show of hands before I talk about me. I want to take a look at the audience and get a gauge how many individuals that are sitting in the audience currently own their own small business initiative. Is there anyone? One? Be proud of it. Stand up. Stand up. Please, stand up and give them a round of applause. You're one of our economic engines. How many of you in the audience are looking to start a small business initiative because working in a W-2 environment is not conducive for you? Stand up so we can see how many individuals. Fantastic. Okay, so now that I understand who the audience is, I want to be able to communicate to you about the Veterans Business Outreach Center and how we can assist you in your initiatives to either start, sustain, or expand a small business initiative. The VBOC program came to fruition due to Public Law 10650 through the Small Business Administration. In 2003, they enacted 4 VBOC centers nationwide. Those centers were charged to provide complimentary entrepreneurial training services to veterans, reservists, Guard members, and their spouses in their initiatives to either start, sustain, or expand a small business initiative. Now, our program is a 501c3 program. There's 14 other VBOC centers nationwide that's partially funded through the Office of Veterans Business Development that provides these complimentary entrepreneurial training services. So we're based out of California and Nevada, but we cover a vast region. We serve California, Nevada, Hawaii, Arizona, and Guam. And the 3 forms of services that we offer are, number 1, complimentary and confidential, just like a bank fiduciary relationship, one-to-one small business mentoring services. So if you're looking to start a business, we're going to start you with a strategic plan or a business plan. If you're in business and maybe you're looking to grow your revenue base and you haven't thought about maybe government contracting, whether it's federal contracting, state contracting, prime or local municipality or corporate contracting, because there are programs and legislation that is set for service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses. There's an executive order that passed, 13360, where 1.5% of all federal contracts is slated for service-disabled veteran-owned small businesses. And you're talking billions of dollars nationwide. Now, the state of California is unique because the state of California is the first state to enact a disabled veteran business enterprise certification. And in that certification, between CalVet through the Department of General Services, 3%, there's a 3% goal. It's not a requirement, it is a goal, that 3% of the state goal goes to disabled veteran business enterprises, just to give you an example. And in corporations, in the telecommunications industry sector, public utilities commissions, there are legislation that's mandated for them to adhere to. So In the consulting services, we will do a needs analysis. It's a one-on-one where we will sit down with you. We have a very holistic approach. We want to find out about you, what your learning style is, so we can match you up and provide you that information, whether you're audio, whether you're visual, whether you're kinesthetic, that best suits your learning style and capabilities. In addition to that, what we'll do in that needs analysis is we will put together a scope of work. And that scope of work clearly defines what we're going to do with you, and there's going to be a timeline attached to that. Bottom line, what we're looking to do is to help you become a successful small business owner. We're not going to do the work for you, but we're going to mentor you through that process. In addition to that, we have educational workshops, and we also host conferences, which are 1 to 3 day conferences, and they're designed for startups that talk about access to capital, business planning, government contracting, insurance, bonding, or if you're an existing business, 2 minutes? Okay. Oh, one, okay. So to receive our services, if you just go to our website at www.vbocix.org, we are the organization that is delighted and would be honored to serve you. Thank you.
Thank you, Okay, final speaker, and then the floor is yours. We're going to hear from Trilogy Integrated Resources, founded by a fellow colleague in the state legislature, Bruce Bunson, who couldn't make it and instead sent...
Me. I'm Chris Raschke.
Okay, Chris, come on over.
Thank you, Congresswoman Spears. Thank you, panel, for all the services that you guys provide. It's truly humbling to be sitting up here with you guys. So, my name is Chris. I am a Marine veteran. Do we have any Marines in the house? That's what I'm talking about. All right. Army. See, did you see everybody stall? Like, I don't really want to say anything about that. Navy. There we go. Okay, guys. So the Network of Care is a county-based web service that provides information and referral to service members, veterans, and their families, along with a whole slew of other issues to include aging and public health, stuff like that. Every county in California has a Network of Care site. On that site, on the very front page, you're going to find a link to the employment section. I was supposed to have some tech support here, but I guess that fell through. We probably didn't make that connection right. But at any rate, in the employment section, you're going to be able to find 3 different job search engines and also a link to community-based programs usually run by your county for employment services. So it's an incredible tool to use. It's incredibly easy to use. And I can say that it's going to be able to help you guys out. To find out more information, you can go to networkofcare.org. I have some information at the table along with my cards. If you've got any questions, feel free to contact me. And I just want to say thanks for everything, guys.
Okay, now we're going to get your questions. Who would like to be first? Come on up. Do we have a roving mic? Let's get these mics up. Okay.
Well, first of all, it's an honor to meet you, Congresswoman Spears. It's been an absolute pleasure to meet you. You're doing a fantastic job at the regional office. Ms. Graham, who I know from my San Francisco VA healthcare system, and I'll try to be brief. The tremendous work of the Department of Veterans Affairs has made phenomenal work in my life. Spending time with Robert McDonald and others, College of San Mateo, we have an incredible veteran center up there, the work here at City College. My question is addressing the service-connected ratings that are prioritized in HR for the Department of Veterans Affairs. There are a lot of us veterans that have active claims, and a lot of us veterans that have not been deemed as having a service-connected disability rating. So my question is there a possibility of looking in a way to streamline those priorities? For example, a lot of the jobs that are going in for veterans under veteran preference are streamlined with service-connected ratings of 30% or more. There's a lot of veterans that have service-connected ratings that are less, that are completely qualified and are competent to do these jobs. So what I'm asking, is there a way that we can look at that and see if there's a way that we can get more veteran jobs through the VA system that may not have service-connected ratings?
Okay, it's something we can certainly look at. Julie, do you have any comments you'd like to make on that?
So I can't necessarily change the process where the 30%ers and the ranking systems, but I know that sometimes veterans are waiting for a decision on us before they can get to the next step in their lives. Many times we may not be aware of it. I would encourage you to let us know. Give us a call. If you're on e-benefits, identify it that way. You're a congresswoman or congressman, depending on your district. And most importantly, your county service officers is a great tool. If you have that need and you've got a claim in our system and you need to let us know where we're at, we'll try to do our best to expedite it to the best of our ability. We may not be able to do it tomorrow, but we'll try to get you streamlined as best as possible. But mostly, we just need to know about it.
So leave your name and contact information so that we can get back to you, and I'll raise that question with the VA administrators to see if 30% is magic, or is it a regulation that would have to be changed, or what? Can you not hear me in the back? Or you have a question? Okay. Katrina, can you take it?
Who has the question?
All right. Good afternoon. Good afternoon.
Good afternoon.
Congresswoman Jackie Spears. I'm pretty sure you know me. I was at Fort Miley, and because my military benefits were subcontracted to a private employer through the state workers' comp system, when we had talked that you had recognized that it was a workers' comp system. Now, I have 3 people I want to address, and I would ask you, since you're on the Intelligence Committee, we're really dealing with military benefits. Is there some way that the military itself, whether it's Special Investigation Division outside of the MPs or local law enforcement, can have a special team to come and investigate what's going on with the Veterans Affairs? Because what I'm seeing from my records and my documents, my doctors have cleared me for 1151 for pay purposes only. Because in the military I did get hurt, but blah, blah. And then one of your workers, Julia Bohr, had talked to me, and the VBA, or somebody within the system, had reclassified my injury. I had my taser boots on, had a freak accident. And the guy over the emergency room actually investigated it for me, came up with MRIs. And I'm still waiting. It took me 8 years just to get these shoes. And I'm just wondering, through the Intelligence Committee, if you could bring something up like that so the military itself can come and look into these matters. And as to you, Julia Bohr, I would like to ask you, when it comes down to the VBA, why does the VBA use the VHA against the VHA?
I'm not sure I understand your question, but we do utilize our partners in VHA to obtain medical evidence, but it doesn't have to necessarily rely on VHA. As for, I think you mentioned an 1151 issue, which I don't want to get into specifics in a general room, but we do have to rely on certain opinions from that perspective. So there's a partnership there, and there's also some contracting going on as well, both from VBA and VHA. So it's not solely VHA clinicians helping us out there. I'm not sure if I answered your question or what your question was.
Well, actually, you kind of didn't, because you're VHA and you're VHA. Now, if I understand from some of the soldiers and some of the people that I've actually talked about, because I understand you have a council up at Fort Miley now, and I actually was blessed enough to sit in on it yesterday. And my question to you was, the reason why I asked that question about why does VBA use VHA against each other, for those of you who don't know what VHA is that the VHA is actually my doctors. That has all my doctor's records, my MRIs, and then when it gets to VBA, then it's switched. And that's why I think the military itself, which is separate and independent of the BS, just somebody like SID, could come in a special investigation division and find out what's going on with our business.
Sir, let her respond as much as she can, and we need to move on to something.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you much.
So I would just say to that is I know that a lot of folks are treated at Fort Miley and other hospital facilities across the country. Where they help us out is in general clinicians that do exams for us to let us know what your current disability is at that point. And there are certain rules and regulations that they need to follow. So it's a different kind of objective setting for that. And additionally, like I mentioned, we also are using contractors now as well. So it's not just VHA. I don't know, again, if I've answered your question. I'm looking at you smiling, so I'm trying.
All right. Well, if you have a question about your benefits, there are experts in the other room. Do you have an appointment schedule so you can go on in? Okay, great.
Good afternoon. I'd like to thank you all for your time. My name is Stefano Zigamalis. I'm a student here at CCSF, and we're all really lucky to be here. This institution is really a great place, and I've shopped all around the state and the country, and it's really a wonderful place to be, especially at this time. I did, however, as a veteran, have a couple of questions, and I know that's not easy to field blindly when you're up there. They're pretty simple.
Can you put the microphone closer so we
Sure.
can hear you? Okay,
I was
great.
hoping maybe you could provide me with a little clarity on a couple of issues for all of the veterans in the room.
Sure.
And I'll fire them off real quick and take a seat. The first question was a difficult one. I understand that the GI Bills are each laws, but when you have certain veterans that have one GI Bill versus the next generation GI Bill, you have two people sitting in a room getting paid about 5 times difference. And what ends up happening is those two people aren't getting the same opportunity to succeed. One of those two people, them and their family are suffering, and they can't have the same study time to get out and get earning as quickly as possible. And I understand how there are each different laws for each GI Bill, but what I don't understand is, with all the technology we have in this country, why can't the GI Bill be updated like an app, where if you're using your GI Bill, this is where it's at now?
It's a very good question. For those of you that may not be familiar, the GI Bill that was passed for the Iraqi, Afghanistan veterans is the best one we have ever had. There's a stipend that's associated with it. You get a benefit that is based on the highest cost public institution in your state, and you can take that anywhere you want. The stipend in particular is not a benefit that previous veterans had. And it's a very legitimate question that you raise, and it's one that we really should take up. For those that are accessing their benefits at a time when new benefits have been created, it would and should make sense that we would make the same benefits available to you. So I will take that back and see what we can do.
Thank you. The other question I had was, with all due respect to Voc Rehab, I went through my Voc Rehab orientation 4 weeks ago, and although my worker, Helen Fung, is excellent, we didn't see eye to eye for the first couple of minutes, but she was excellent. During the intro and the testing process, the first thing I heard was, you have to watch this video. That video is, however, obsolete, and the website it tells you about doesn't exist. And that, to open up with that was a very difficult thing for me, because I'm going there for my future. I understand I don't have as much left as some of the people in the room.
I
I'm
don't
a
know about
reentry
that.
student. Thank you.
You have a whole lot more than I have left.
I
Let's put it that way.
appreciate it. And my last two questions were, the Voc Rehab sometimes filters as far as what careers they're willing to throw their full support behind you in. And there are even programs offered and education offered here at CCSF that I have to take on my own because I'm not going to get backing in the grand scheme of things. And this is where I chose to spend my money because it's such a great institution, but it hurts when I don't have the support and everybody says thank you for my service. I don't need thanks for my service. It gave me gratification to serve my country for all it's given myself and my family. But what I do need is support to have an equal opportunity to succeed.
What do you want to do with your life?
Fly. That's all I'm going to do, and I'm in the program here so that I can understand what makes that possible. And I have a veteran instructor, and I have 2 incredible instructors that work for a local company that would probably want nothing more to do than support the program here at CCSF. I imagine from things I hear through the rumor mill. And I hope that that does end up happening, because if there's anybody in this room who doesn't want to fly to go see their family for a holiday or something, then good luck on the roads. But the rest of us need great training so that we can put you in safe aircraft.
Okay. Voc Rehab, who can answer that question?
I had one last question. Last question, and then I'll sit down, was a personal thing of mine is hearing loss. from things that I experienced when I was in the first Gulf War. I have a significant hearing loss, and according to the VA hospital, there are 3 organizations in the country that define what your percentage, that interpret what your percentage of loss is according to a standardized audiology exam and graph. And for some reason, the 2 civilian ones are up here, and the military one is slightly lower, which is convenient economically for the Veterans Administration because there are a lot of people who fall through the cracks. However, I'm not applying for a job in the military. I'm applying for a job in the civilian community that goes according to these standards. So again, it translates to opportunity and funding, because those people who fall short as far as that being rated as a disability aren't getting the help because of that. And I don't understand why. We live in one country. We were all protected by the military. And what it is it's belittling. And I get up every morning and I go like this and take my dog outside and think today's going to be a better day. And I'm going to come out here and I'm going to reach out to these people. I don't know any of you, but I can tell that man that I was part of the first study for tinnitus, which is what that ringing in your ear is. And if you go see Dr. Rechek, he'll take care of you if you do the work. He's a good guy.
So thank you for your feedback. I really appreciate it, and I'll tell Helen that you liked it. And as far as the orientation videos and stuff, I need to look into that. I've honestly not seen it, so I'm going to take a look and find out. So thank you for letting me know.
Good afternoon, Congressman Spears. This is my second town hall meeting with you, and I really want to compliment you and Barbara Lee for the first one you had at the War Memorial. And since I'm talking about the War Memorial building, don't let veterans lose that building. We need that building. It's good that the city want to hold operas in and everything, but there's a lot of guys out there on the street, and I'm one of them. I've been off homeless 2 years and 9 months. I live in a nice apartment building for veterans, and that building is dysfunctional. The human deprivation in that building is absurd. I dare you give us a brand new building, but no services, especially the minority veterans that live in that building. It's a sad state of affairs.
So there is, you are in a veterans housing facility.
Yes.
But there aren't services being provided?
There's nothing going on in that building. It's one thing to take a man off the street and give him housing, but if he doesn't have a plan himself, which 85% of the 75 people in the building got PTSD. How can we have a community meeting and everybody brings atomic bombs to the meeting because of the trust factor?
All right, okay.
Okay, can I finish? Got
All
one more
right.
item. I recently filed a claim under Chapter 38. I had surgery on my eye at the VA, San Francisco VA. And I'm rendered totally legally blind in my left eye, but I can't get paid for that. And I'd like for Dr. Graham to look into that because Dr. Denise Nicholas was looking into it. And I thank all you guys that serve your country. Get your benefits. Thank you.
So I'd like to respond first, Mr. Hall. We had a conversation before we started up here in which you shared with me a lot of information, which I really appreciate, about the veterans' residence that you live in. And I had shared with you that I had just been there visiting a couple of months ago, and we had about 30, 40 veterans, and I had not heard from them the feedback you're sharing. So you did share with me in more detail, and I certainly will go back and explore that and see what opportunities there are. Absolutely.
Bonnie, I'm going to go one step further. This is a city-run housing project?
City and county and private.
All right. We're going to join with the mayor and come over there and see what we can do. All right?
It's a partnership with Swords to Plowshares as well. They manage it.
All right. That makes sense, though. All right, next question.
Right here.
Actually, if it's easier, if you want to get in the line, and then it might work better that way than Katrina trying to find your hands. Right? Yeah.
Oh, Lord, that's too close.
All right, here we go. Now we've got this under control now. All right, sir.
Good afternoon, Congressman Speier. Thank you for being here, as well as your panel. My name is Raymond Bunton. I am retired Lieutenant Colonel, United States Army Intelligence. Thank you. I'm originally from Texas, and I think I made a good choice to come to this college for my education. I used to work for the VA as well. But I only have one question regarding, I'm a retired National Guardsman, and I'm 54, and I have to wait another 5 years for my retirement from that. With active duty, I know that once they retire, they receive their retirement, say, the month after they're completed. I know this is an old law or that has been written for over 50 years, I'm sure, or somewhere there after World War II. My question is, I'm not sure if the law can be changed or you can direct me to where I need to go in order to see about how do we go about getting that law changed, because of the fact that you wait, the traditional guardsmen and reservists wait until they're 60 before they draw their retirement. The law has been on the books for about the last 40 or 50 years. Waiting those years in order to receive your retirement, and those same years won't ask you to wait when the global war on terrorism started. And my point is this: can something be done? If so, how do we go about doing it?
Okay. Very difficult to do that. It's like a contract that you had with the federal government at the time that you completed your term of service.
Correct.
So that's a contract. The federal government has to comply with that contract. You're now saying, well, you would like the contract amended to reflect what
Yes,
other
ma'am.
contracts
Yes,
suggest, which
yes.
is difficult to do. It would have to be done retroactively for everybody, and the costs, I would venture to say, would be astronomical. So I'm not holding out a lot of hope for you in that regard. You're going to have to stay healthy for another 4 or 5
But
years.
I thought I'd ask.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you all.